Have you ever wondered if the month of your birth could carry a greater meaning, something beyond what you imagine? What if every detail of the moment you came into the world had been carefully planned by God, containing clues about who you are and the purpose He has for your life? It seems bold to say, but what I'm going to reveal here could completely change the way you see yourself and the divine plan. The truth is that the Bible is full of hidden messages that, when discovered, illuminate our journey. And your birth month can be more than a date on the calendar. It's a symbol, a celestial signature. After all, Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5 makes it clear. Before you were even born, God already had a plan. It doesn't matter if you were born in January, April, or November. Each month carries a special energy that reflects something unique about you. But why doesn't anyone talk about it? Perhaps because understanding these messages requires more than looking at the obvious. Today, you will discover how God's plan is linked to the exact moment your life began and the impact of this on your personal mission. If you think your date of birth doesn't matter, prepare to change your mind. And stay tuned. The explanation of the month that most connects with your purpose will be revealed throughout this video. Since the beginning, the idea of a divine plan has always fascinated humanity. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5 brings us a powerful revelation. Even before we were born, God already knew us and prepared us for something greater. Think about it. You are not an accident, but part of a project meticulously designed by a creator who sees far beyond the present. Every detail of your existence carries purpose and intention, like a masterpiece in the making. Have you ever wondered how your story connects to this eternal plan? Sometimes it's easy to feel lost, not knowing the meaning of the journey. But the divine plan does not reveal itself immediately. It requires faith and patience. The Bible teaches us that even difficult moments play an essential role in our formation. Imagine someone training for a marathon. Every pain and effort contributes to the final preparation. Likewise, the difficulties you face today can be the foundation for something great. How about reflecting on how challenges have already shaped your life? The story of Joseph of Egypt perfectly exemplifies God's actions. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, he could have given up in despair. However, divine purpose turned his pain into victory, making him a leader who saved a nation. Now, look at your own life. Aren't those closed doors or unexpected difficulties part of a bigger plan? Often, what seems like a setback is just God adjusting His course. Understanding the divine plan requires humility and a willingness to learn. This means slowing down and paying attention to the signs around us. Moses heard God in the middle of a burning bush, far from any distractions. Have you ever thought that maybe God is trying to speak to you in quiet moments? To understand this, a suggestion is to set aside a few minutes of your day to meditate on biblical stories. A good tip is to start with the book of Proverbs, rich in practical wisdom for life. A simple but transformative exercise is to revisit the defining moments of your life. Take a notebook or even use an app and write down what situations changed your trajectory, what decisions opened or closed paths. Often, God's plan is hidden in these details. For example, remember that opportunity that seemed perfect but didn't work out. Have you ever stopped to think that this could have been divine protection? How to align yourself with the divine plan. The first step is to seek communion with God. It's not just about praying, but about building a genuine relationship through spirituality. Read biblical stories, talk to people of faith, and try to integrate these principles into your routine. For example, you can start the day with a short prayer, asking for wisdom to make decisions aligned with your greater purpose. Modern life, with its distractions, often drowns out the whispers of God. But He does not compete for our attention. Just as He did with Elijah, God speaks softly, almost imperceptibly. Maybe it's in the small moments, a sunset, a word of comfort from someone close to you, or even an unexpected challenge. Have you noticed these messages amidst the rush? Each divine plan is unique, as is each person. Comparing your trajectory with that of others is a mistake, because God has an exclusive purpose for you. Think of the talents He has placed in your hands. What skills or passions have you been neglecting? Maybe it's time to invest in them. transforming them into tools to fulfill your mission. After all, no gift is given by chance. For many, understanding God's plan seems difficult, but perhaps the issue is perspective. Imagine a tapestry seen inside out, full of knots and confusing lines. When turned right side out, it reveals a stunning image. The next time you feel frustrated or lost, remember, God is weaving something beautiful, even if you can't see the end result right now. And so, when we look at the divine plan, we understand that it begins even before our birth. Every detail of the day and month in which we came into the world has something to reveal to us, like clues left by God, waiting to be deciphered. Even before any action or thought, a plan already existed that connected you directly to the Creator. In Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, God declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." These words are not just an affirmation, but an invitation to see life in a completely different way. God knows us deeply, more than anyone else. This means that its existence was never a coincidence. Have you ever stopped to reflect on the impact of this truth? Often, we get caught up in the uncertainties of the present, without realizing that God sees much further. He doesn't work with improvisations. Every detail of your life is part of a divine plan. Imagine a writer patiently crafting a book, page by page. Even if you're just in the introduction to your story, the author already knows the ending. What would your life be like if you trusted this heavenly writer more? The story of Abraham is a powerful example. God promised that he would father a great nation, but Abraham faced challenges that seemed to contradict that promise. He needed to trust, even without understanding the process. Think about your own life. Is there anything that seems distant or impossible right now? Perhaps, like Abraham, you're in a waiting phase where God's silence is actually a harbinger of something greater. The fact that God knows us before birth reminds us that each person carries a unique value. Just as an original work of art is priceless, you also have a singular purpose. How about doing a simple exercise? Write down on paper 3 characteristics or skills that make you special. Reflecting on this can help you recognize how important you are in God's grand plan. But how can we align our actions with the divine plan? An important step is to create space to hear God's voice. This can be done in a practical way. Set aside a moment in your day to reflect in silence, meditate or pray. Choose a quiet place. Put on some inspiring music and ask God for wisdom. Have you ever experienced something like this? Often, it is in the simple moments that we find the most profound answers. Another essential point is to remember that God uses even our weaknesses to accomplish great things. Think of Moses, who stuttered but was chosen to lead an entire people. Now, look at your own life. What area do you consider a weakness? Have you ever imagined that God could use exactly this to do something extraordinary? A good idea is to ask Him for specific guidance, mentioning your doubts and limitations. The knowledge that God chose us before birth is also liberating. This takes us away from the need to seek constant approval. Many people live trapped by what others think, but Jeremiah chapter 1 reminds us that our value comes from God, not the world. How about reflecting? Which areas of your life are still tied to other people's opinions? Maybe it's time to hand this over to the Creator. This divine call demands a practical response. It's not enough to just believe. It is necessary to act. If there is a dream or an idea that God has planted in your heart, start taking small steps. For example, if you feel like helping people, look for opportunities in your daily life, such as volunteering or even a simple gesture, such as listening to someone who needs support. Faith grows stronger when it is put into practice. Jeremiah chapter 1 inspires us to live with intentionality. Imagine that your life is a book being written by God. Have you been paying attention to the chapters that have already been completed? A good exercise is to review important moments in your career and try to see how they connect. Sometimes, even difficult moments carry profound lessons. Can you recognize these connections? Finally, this biblical reference opens a door to something even deeper. Every detail of your birth, including the month in which you came into the world, can be a key to better understanding God's plan. What if this date was more than a number on the calendar, but a divine message waiting to be deciphered? Since the beginning of time, birth has been shrouded in mystery and meaning. The Bible is full of stories that highlight the moment of arrival into the world as something sacred, charged with purpose. It is no coincidence that each month of the year has its own energy and symbolism, reflecting the uniqueness of the people born in it. Have you ever wondered what the month of your birth can say about the divine purpose that God has for you? January, for example, is the month of new beginnings. Those born during this period carry with them a renewing energy and a spirit of natural leadership. No wonder many inspiring leaders were born this month. Think about it. What areas of your life can you renew or lead more assertively? Perhaps the simple act of planning something new can be the beginning of a greater transformation. February brings an energy of empathy and connection. People born in this month have a special gift for creating harmony around them. This sensitivity can be seen in small actions, such as listening carefully or helping someone in need. If you were born in February, try using this quality to transform relationships around you. For example, start by practicing intentional empathy by asking others how they really feel. March, in turn, is the month of renewal. Those born during this period carry a transformative energy, as if they were called to constantly evolve and reinvent themselves. Remember that God also works through change. Maybe it's time to leave behind what doesn't add value and embrace a new phase. How about taking a few minutes to list habits or situations that you need to renew in your life? But the symbolism of birth is not limited to just the months. The very day you were born also carries special meaning. Many believe that this date is a constant reminder of a greater calling, predestined by God. Therefore, ask yourself, what does my birth represent in the divine plan? This type of reflection can reveal clues about what you are called to do. It is important to remember that God does not work with coincidences. Every detail of the moment of your birth was planned, from the location to the circumstances. Even the difficulties that marked this event play a significant role. If you came into the world under challenging conditions, perhaps this is a sign that God has placed in you a special strength to overcome adversity. Furthermore, each month of the year can also be seen as a piece of a large spiritual puzzle. Just as the human body is made up of different parts that work together, each month reflects a unique facet of God's plan. Have you ever thought that perhaps the month you were born in is an essential piece of this divine puzzle? How can you use this energy to impact the world around you? Also reflect on the gifts and talents you have developed throughout your life. It is likely that many of them have a direct relationship with the symbolism of your birth. For example, a person born in March may discover that their renewal and adaptation skills are the perfect tools to help others overcome challenges. What have you done with the gifts God gave you? Finally, the symbolism of birth reminds us that life is a gift. No matter what month or day you were born, God chose that moment with intention and love. How about honoring this gift by living more consciously and aligned with the divine plan? Start today by taking time to be grateful for the gift of life and all the opportunities it offers. And so, every detail of the month and day of your birth begins to make sense, revealing that there is much more to discover about the divine plan that God has designed for you. January is the month that opens the year, bringing with it an energy of renewal and infinite possibilities. People born during this period naturally carry an essence of leadership and innovation. It is no wonder that many leaders and visionaries were born this month. These individuals have the ability to see beyond, to find creative solutions to life's challenges. Ever wondered how you can use this leadership strength to create a greater impact around you? The symbolism of January reminds us that every beginning requires courage and determination. Just as a builder needs the right plans to build a project, people born in this month have a clear vision of what they want to build. If you were born in January, reflect. What is the work you have been working on for God and for yourself? Maybe it's time to review your plans and align your actions with your purposes. The strength of those born in January is also reflected in their ability to face challenges. Just as the beginning of the year often brings goals and resolutions, These people have the ability to deal with change and chart new paths. Imagine you are at the beginning of a long journey. Which direction would you choose? This reflection can help you connect even more with this month's transformative energy. A striking characteristic of those born in January is the desire for authenticity. These people are not content to follow standards. They seek something genuine, something that reflects their essence. A good example would be taking time to explore new ideas or projects that resonate with your soul. If this is something you feel in your heart, maybe it's time to take the first step towards something you've always dreamed of. But January is also a month that challenges us to start anew, even when the past weighs heavily. It is the month in which the mistakes of the previous year can be left behind. If you were born during this period, ask yourself, what do I need to forgive, let go, or start over? Perhaps this renewal is exactly what you need to move forward on your spiritual and personal path. The beginning of the year also inspires us to plan. Those born in January are known for their ability to organize and set goals. How about making a list of your goals for this month or for the year? Include spiritual goals, such as reading a Bible book, joining a prayer group, or even starting a gratitude journal. Small steps can lead to big transformations. The connection with the divine plan is strong in those born in January. The Bible teaches us that each day is a new opportunity to act with faith and trust. These people have a special calling to inspire others to also believe in the impossible. Have you used this ability to positively influence those around you? It can start with something simple, like sharing a word of encouragement or helping someone who needs support. Another fascinating point about January is the symbolism of being first. This brings with it the responsibility to lead by example and inspiration. Those born in this month often feel the need to make a difference. Think, which areas of your life need more attention so that you can be the person who leads with purpose? Maybe it's time to invest more in your personal and spiritual growth. Those born in January also have an impressive resilience. When difficulties come, they find the strength to continue, even when everything seems uncertain. This strength is a reflection of the trust that God places in each person's heart. If you were born in this month, remember, the struggles you face today could be the stepping stones to tomorrow's success. And so, the symbolism of January prepares us to understand even more the purpose that God has planted in each of us. As we explore the coming months, we will see that each period of the year reveals new nuances and unique characteristics of the divine plan. February, the shortest of months, carries with it a unique energy of connection and sensitivity. People born during this period have a special gift: empathy. They have the ability to see the world through the eyes of others, bringing harmony where there is chaos. It is like a reflection of God's own love, which understands us perfectly. Have you ever wondered how you can use this gift to transform the relationships around you? The empathy of those born in February often manifests itself in subtle ways, in small gestures of kindness that make a huge difference. A smile to a stranger, a word of comfort, or even a simple willingness to listen can change someone's day. How about making this a habit? Try taking a few minutes out of your day to genuinely ask someone how they are doing. The strength of those born in February lies in their spiritual sensitivity. These people have a natural connection with the divine, which makes them excellent at capturing signs and messages from God. Imagine using this sensitivity to create moments of communion, whether in prayer, Bible reading, or deep conversations with others. If you feel this calling, it may be time to explore your spirituality more intentionally. February is also a month that inspires collaboration. Those born during this period tend to be bridge builders, someone who unites people and ideas. Think about the situations around you. Is there anything you can do to create harmony between those who are in conflict? Perhaps your ability to understand both sides is the key to solving even the most difficult challenges. But it's important to remember that empathy also requires balance. Often, those who feel too much can carry the weight of other people's emotions, which can be exhausting. Therefore, it is essential to take care of your own emotional and spiritual health. Dedicate time to rest, reflect, and renew your strength in God. After all, Even Jesus retired to pray and recover his energy. Those born in February have a unique ability to inspire confidence in others. It is as if your presence conveys peace and security. This trait can be used to encourage those facing difficulties. How about sharing a story or a Bible verse with someone who needs hope? You can be God's light in that person's life. February also reminds us of the value of little things. Genuine kindness often manifests itself in the details, like a hug, a message of support, or an unexpected gesture. If you were born in this month, reflect. What small acts can you do to spread love and harmony around you? Never underestimate the impact of a generous heart. A striking characteristic of those born in February is their intuition. These people often perceive what is beyond words, capturing what others cannot even express. Use this to discern where you can be most helpful or to better understand what God wants from you. Ask yourself, what is my heart telling me about the next step in the divine plan? Furthermore, February is a month that symbolizes love and unity, reflecting what the Bible teaches us about loving our neighbors as ourselves. This is one of the deepest lessons of Christianity, and for those born in this month, it is a skill that comes naturally. How about practicing this love more? Start by forgiving those who hurt you or reconciling with someone important. And so, as we explore the symbolism of February, we realize that this divine sensitivity prepares us for the challenges and opportunities for renewal that lie ahead. After all, March is right around the corner, bringing its own message of transformation and new beginnings. March marks the beginning of a new cycle, symbolizing renewal and transformation. It's a month in which nature begins to flourish again, bringing energy for change and new beginnings. People born during this period carry an inner strength that makes them inspiring in times of transition. Have you ever stopped to think about how this energy can be used to bring something new into your life or the lives of those around you? Those born in March have a special gift for adapting to changes. They understand that, like the seasons, life also goes through cycles. This ability to accept new things is essential to grow spiritually. Maybe it's time to reflect. What do you need to leave behind to embrace the plan that God has for you? It could be a habit, a belief, or even a relationship that isn't good for you. This month's energy of renewal is also reflected in the ability to inspire others. Those born in March often have a contagious spirit that encourages those around them. Think, who can you help today? It could be an unmotivated friend, a family member going through a difficult time, or even a colleague who needs a word of support. Sometimes a simple attitude can be the spark that ignites a great transformation. The Bible shows us several examples of renewal, and one of them is the story of Nicodemus. When talking to Jesus, he discovered that it was necessary to be born again to enter the kingdom of God. This idea of a fresh start is powerful and is also available to you. How about dedicating a moment of your day to pray and ask God to renew your mind and spirit? This practice can bring clarity and strength to face new challenges. March also teaches us that renewal is not always easy. Just as a plant needs time to grow after being pruned, times of change can require patience and persistence. If you were born in this month, know that your strength lies in moving forward, even when the results are not yet visible. Remember, God works in silence to prepare the ground for something greater. A striking characteristic of those born in March is their creativity. These people have a unique look at the world and often find innovative solutions to problems. If you feel like you're stagnant in some area of your life, maybe it's time to explore that creativity. Try something new, like learning a skill or starting a project you've always wanted to do. Furthermore, March reminds us of the importance of faith in times of renewal. True transformation only happens when we trust God to guide us. Think about the story of Paul, who went from persecutor to apostle after an encounter with Christ. Just like him, you can also experience a radical change, as long as you hand your worries over to the Creator. Those born during this period have a special connection with the concept of hope. They can see the light, even in the darkest moments. This positive vision is a reflection of what faith can do in our lives. How about practicing this daily? You can start by listing 3 things you are grateful for and recognizing how God has worked in your life. The symbolism of March reminds us that there is no renewal without action. The Bible teaches us that faith without works is dead, which means that we must combine our trust in God with concrete attitudes. What is one small step you can take today to transform your reality? Maybe it's something simple like committing to reading a chapter of the Bible or doing something you've been putting off for a long time. And so, March prepares us to continue this journey of discovery about the divine plan. As we explore the coming months, we will see how each of them contributes to our spiritual and personal mission. Your birthday is not just a date on the calendar, but a reminder of the special calling God has assigned to your life. Every detail was carefully planned, reflecting a greater purpose. The Bible teaches us that God knows each of us intimately from our mother's wombs. Have you ever stopped to think about what He is calling you to do right now? Often the divine calling begins as a whisper in our hearts. It's not something obvious or loud, but a persistent feeling that there is more to life. Think about the story of Samuel, who heard God's voice when he was just a boy. He could have ignored that call, but he decided to listen. And you? What signs has God sent to call you? God's calling is not reserved for a few people. He is for everyone. However, many ignore it, whether out of fear, doubts, or distractions. If you feel like you're not living up to that purpose, don't worry. There is still time to realign your life. A practical suggestion is to take a few minutes to reflect. What do you feel you were born to do? Perhaps this is an indication of your calling. Each person has a unique mission, and the day of birth is like a clue left by God. He uses our journey, our talents, and even our struggles to shape us. Think of Moses, who was called to free the Hebrew people, even with all their limitations. How about asking yourself, what in my story prepares me for God's purpose? The divine calling is not something that happens all at once. It is a process, a journey of growth and learning. God often puts us in situations that seem challenging to prepare us for something greater. Remember Joseph of Egypt, who went through so many trials before becoming a leader. If you are facing challenges right now, this can be part of that preparation. Discovering the divine calling also requires action. It's not enough to just feel the call. You need to take concrete steps to follow it. Maybe you feel like helping others, using a specific talent, or sharing your faith. How about starting with something small but meaningful? For example, dedicate yourself to a volunteer project or study more about a topic that inspires you spiritually. An important point about calling is that it requires courage. Following God's purpose often means leaving your comfort zone and facing the unknown. It's like Peter, who had to get out of the boat and walk on the water to follow the voice of Jesus. And you? Are you willing to take this step of faith, even without seeing the complete path? Remember that the divine calling is not about perfection, but about willingness. God does not expect us to be impeccable, but to say yes to what He asks of us. Think of David, a simple shepherd who was chosen to be king. He was not perfect, but he had a heart willing to obey. Is what God expects from you now just a yes? Another aspect of the divine calling is that it not only benefits those who follow it, but also impacts those around them. When we align our lives with God's purpose, we become instruments of blessing to others. Have you ever thought about how your life can inspire and help someone close to you? Maybe your attitude is the key to transforming someone else's story. And so, as we explore the divine calling, we realize that it is deeply connected to the moment of our birth. Every detail, including the month and day, carries clues about the mission God has given us. But this is just the beginning of the discovery, because there is even more to be revealed about the greater purpose of our lives. Now that you know the biblical meaning and hidden message of your birth month, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Discovering how God planned every detail of your life is not only inspiring, but an invitation to act. Are you willing to explore this purpose? Listen to the divine call and transform your life and those around you? Reflect. How have you used the gifts and unique characteristics that God has placed in you? If January symbolizes leadership or March inspires renewal, Are you living up to that potential? Or are you letting life's distractions block the greater plan that has been laid out for you? Remember, faith without works is dead. Today is the perfect time to take the next step and start living in line with what God expects of you. So, are you ready to put all this into practice? If this content touched your heart and brought clarity about the divine purpose, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, we continue exploring themes that strengthen your spirituality and faith. Don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Together, we can inspire more people to live up to their calling.